We can see that Bitcoin broke through this very important trend line, and guys, are we going to see a further dump towards the downside, or could it be the reversal of Bitcoin and we're going to get a bounce exactly in these areas? Because yes guys, like I told you in my previous video where we were trading exactly at the 50% level, that I expect that we're going to reach the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level, and we saw this pump towards the upside and some major resistance, and we dumped all the way back down to the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. And like I told you in the previous video, that I expected we're going to see the price movement come all the way back down to the 78.6, where we also have the 200 moving average and also this very important trend line. And guys, as you can see that Bitcoin tried to break this area, but we got this reversal immediately after we broke this trend line. So guys, yes, we're going to find out, are we going to see this reversal? We're going to look at this chart pattern, and yes, are we going to see that history will repeat, and we're going to see the same scenario play out like in the year 2020, where we had this consolidation, this breakout, consolidation, dump, and at the moment we are seeing the exact same pattern, the consolidation, breakout, this pump towards the upside, consolidation, and this dump towards the downside. So what is going to happen next? If you want to find out more, watch the video until the end, smash up the like button and subscribe, and most importantly activate the bell so that you always stay up to date. Welcome back to B4Crypto, and yes guys, I hope you all are doing great. We can see that Bitcoin dumped, but yes, we're seeing that Bitcoin is turning around at the 78.6. First of all, let's go on the daily chart. We're going to look at the bigger perspective, and as we can see guys, we broke this very important trend line that held us in the bear market, and we saw this push towards the upside, and then we saw this correction exactly all the way back to this very important trend line, and then we saw this bounce breaking all the way up, reaching this highs and this resistance point round about the 24,900 US dollars, and then we saw this retracement all the way back down to this very important trend line, and then we saw this massive push towards the upside. And as we can see, we have formed this trend line, this yellow trend line, and first of all it was resistance, which then turned into support, because yes, we broke this trend line towards the upside, and as you guys can see, we held this trend line, and we could see that Bitcoin bounced off from this trend line several times. So this is our support, and we could see that Bitcoin broke out towards the upside out of this bullish formation, and yes, we had this ascending triangle that we formed exactly here, and we had this breakout towards the upside. And yes guys, we have formed this red trend line, which is now our resistance, and then we got this retracement towards the downside, because if we're going to see this breakout out of this bullish formation, what are we looking for? Yes, we're looking for bullish confirmation after the breakout. Usually we're going to see this retest, and exactly in these areas we would have the retest of this ascending triangle. So guys, yes, we're still in a bullish structure, because overall we're still forming higher lows. We can see that this high is lower than the previous lows. So guys, yes, overall this is still bullish for the price of Bitcoin. But guys, first of all, we're going to go on the lower time frames on the 4-hour chart to exactly find out what we could expect for Bitcoin, because yes, we are at this very critical level at this upward sloping trend line, and if we're going to break this trend line, guys, we could expect that Bitcoin will dump all the way back down, first of all to the 50 moving average, which is roundabout at the 26,000 US dollars, where we could expect some support. But guys, otherwise we could expect that Bitcoin will come all the way back down into the support box, which is roundabout in between 23,000 US dollars and 25,000 US dollars. But guys, now we're going to go on the 4-hour chart, and we're going to look at this bullish scenario. And yes, on the 4-hour chart, let me just remove all these drawings. Like I told you, that we're going to reach exactly this price targets, and we perfectly bounced off from the 78.6. So guys, now what could we expect in the immediate short term? So we could expect that yes, Bitcoin is going to hold this level, and that we are at least going to see this reversal coming all the way back up to this major resistance area. But guys, now let's go over to this very important chart that you have to see. Yes, we saw this scenario before in the year 2020, where we could see that Bitcoin consolidated in this range, and we saw this breakout towards the upside, and we saw this massive pump towards the upside, reaching the levels of 12,000 US dollars. after a bear market, and then we saw that the price movement of Bitcoin consolidated and we got the sell-off or the stump towards the downside, reaching the price targets of $9,800. But guys, at the moment we can see that we have exactly the same structure. We're seeing this consolidation, the sideways movement in this range, and we saw this breakout towards the upside, reaching the levels of 30,000 up to 31,000 US dollars for Bitcoin. And then we saw this major resistance like in the year 2020, and we had this sell-off and the stump towards the downside, and at the moment we are exactly in the same formation. But if we're going to break the 28,000 US dollars and we're going to see this massive dump, yes, we would break this scenario. But guys, we're going to zoom out now and we're going to find out what happened after this correction towards the downside, and where we saw that Bitcoin held this line in the year 2020. Yes guys, we saw this consolidation and we held this level, and we saw this parabolic run towards the upside, breaking the levels, this major resistance that we had after the bear market, and we started with this bullish run towards the upside. So could this be that we're going to see this reversal for Bitcoin exactly in these areas, and that we're going to get this massive push towards the upside? So this could mean that Bitcoin will see this major breakout from these regions all the way towards the upside, and now we're going to copy exactly this and paste it over here. And then we can see that, yes guys, this could be the scenario that we're going to see for Bitcoin after the stump towards the downside. And guys, yes, why? We are still in this bullish structure because guys, we had this bullish formation and this was the perfect retest. We had this ascending triangle for Bitcoin, we saw this breakout, and now we're seeing the retest, and we're also holding this very important trend line. And on the 4-hour chart, we can see that it's exactly the 200 moving average and also the 78.6. So guys, yes, these retracements are quite healthy for the markets, and this is no major dump. As long as we're going to hold this very important trend line, then we could expect that we're going to see this massive breakout for Bitcoin, and that we could expect that we're going to break this major resistance. So this is what I expect for Bitcoin in the immediate short term. And guys, if you like this video, smash up the like button and subscribe, and most importantly activate the bell so that you always stay up to date, and make sure to be for crypto.